Bob and Sheri, sponsored by Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Credit Card. You can earn 3% cash back on online shopping, making the essentials even more rewarding. Here's Bob and Sheri.
Don't change the channel unless, of course, you hate the sound of laughter.
The Bob and Sheri Show with Bob.
You jumped on me and said it was my fault.
And Sheri.
That's what we do here.
And now, broadcasting from the palatial Bob and Sheri studios, it's Bob and Sheri.
I saw this online yesterday, and I liked it so much I just couldn't wait to get on the air today and bring it to everybody. The post was, restaurant workers are sharing the strangest food orders they've ever taken. And I think after you hear this, you're going to lose all faith in the human race. But here we go. A mom and her 8-year-old son came into the restaurant. I waited tables for lunch. The mom asked her son what he wanted to eat, and he replied, ranch. I politely asked if he meant a salad with ranch, or even French fries with a side of ranch. The woman looked at me and clarified, he wanted a soup bowl full of ranch dressing.
Wow.
What? Let me read a couple of more, and then I'll ask, what are we doing here?
No, wait. That's all. Did he eat it with a spoon, or did he just stick his hand in it? Like,
it doesn't say. My guess is he was eating it with a spoon.
Do you remember when Eric, my bonus son, was little, and his favorite meal was a bag of store-bought croutons that he could dip in ranch dressing?
Yeah, I do.
So I took him to visit my family, and my brother said, "What's Eric's favorite food? We'll get it in the house." And I said, "Croutons, ranch dressing, and cheerwine." What?
Oh, it's horrible. And the list goes on and on. Let me do another one here. I once waited on a customer who had a kid who would only eat pureed food. She asked us to puree a burger and fries and serve it to the kid in a glass.
Ew. Oh my God. The difference between that and barf is like one step.
Seriously.
One step.
I work at a Mexican restaurant, and the other day I got a delivery order for a chicken burrito, but with no chicken. We have a vegetarian burrito on the menu with the exact same fillings, except no meat. It costs less, but they wanted the chicken taken out. I waited on a pregnant woman who once wanted her nachos burnt. I kept taking them back because they weren't burnt enough for her liking until they were completely black, and then she was satisfied. Well, she was pregnant, so we're gonna give her a little pass. This person says, I worked at an Italian restaurant in college, and every Friday night the same family would come in to eat. Each family member would order a bowl of spaghetti with a side salad with ranch. They would then proceed to mix the spaghetti and salad together in a single bowl and then douse it all in, you guessed it, ranch dressing. Oh, God.
Can I tell you?
Go ahead.
I tell you, because the vegetarian burrito, I'd totally forgotten about this, but last week, Kev took me on a drive in the countryside. I was allowed to let my head hang out the window and bark. It was amazing. And we stopped on the way home at this place we'd never seen before. And it was like a taco place. So they had this big, great deck in the shade. So we're like, let's stop here and we'll sit outside and eat lunch. So get our menus and everything. The waiter comes over. The waiter looks like middle school Pee Wee Herman. It's just so you can have that mental picture, right? Pee Wee Herman, but in middle school. And so I said, I'll have the vegetarian burrito bowl and an unsweet iced tea. And he looks at me and he said, you'll have the what? And I said, the vegetarian burrito bowl. And he said, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so I pointed to the thing on the menu where it said vegetarian burrito bowl. I said, this one right here. And he looked at the menu and he looked at me and he said, they change the menu all the time. Like, what am I supposed to do?
You know what the deal is? They can't find grown-up help. And so they're going to kids that are 14 and 15 years old. And it's not their fault. They've never done this before.
So I started to laugh and I said, well, can I have it? And he goes, you're the customer. And he writes it down. But it was, you guys, it was on the actual menu. Like, I know I'm like high maintenance or whatever, but I was ordering something that was on the actual menu. And,
you know what's, go ahead.
No, you go.
You know what we're creating here? He'll learn eventually how to do the menu and how to become a really good waiter. We are creating a whole generation of kids who will become adults who will have a lot of skills in this area, speaking to people, taking orders, moving quickly, working with the public. There's going to be a whole slew of them because around where I live, there are 15-year-olds waiting on tables left and right.
And that's great. That's great, but I didn't know what to do at that point. Like, I almost wanted to say, no, I'll just have whatever you feel like writing down. I don't want to be a problem.
Can I quickly give you another example of a 15-year-old who's, just starting out? I was at the Cheesecake Factory with a friend who ordered coffee with Baileys in it for dessert. It took ages, but eventually the server came back, a young man with a cup of coffee containing 2 bay leaves. Not Baileys. Bay leaves in it. He gave them literally what they ordered.
Hey, man,
it's
you're
Bob
the customer,
and
Sheri,
okay? And coming up in just a little bit, Morons in the News. Stay right there. It's Bob and Sheri.
Instant access to the podcast, and fun side. Just download the free Bob and Sheri app.
So we're all watching a lot of TV these days. It started with the pandemic, and I think it's probably continuing. And I'm wondering, who is the most likable person who is an actor representing a company on television commercials? Is it Flo from Progressive? Would you say that she's the most likable?
Well, she's certainly more likable than Doug and Limu Emu.
I don't like that whole thing. I agree with you.
That's
a good company, but
that thing, no, it's a great company, but that part, that one where Doug and his girlfriend or wife are having the emus over for dinner and he's grilling chicken. Is anyone else disturbed by that?
And they knew that when they produced that spot and went along, and he's got a toothpick in his mouth. I mean, they were doing everything to make him unlikable. I can't figure out why. I wonder who is the young lady who's in the ad for AT&T? She has dark hair. Lily. Yeah. She's all over the internet. The guys have a real thing for her. You know that I don't understand, though, and I'm sure it's a terrific company. The company is Simply Safe. It's one of those burglar alarm companies, security system companies. And the guy who is their spokesman, he's a burglar. I mean, if you go back like 3 or 4 years, the concept is this guy is a burglar, so he can tell you how he breaks into houses, and he can't break in with Simply Safe. All right, so that's the concept. And he's got a beard and a fluffy blonde mustache. Well, they've kept him around, and they want to make him more likable. So he has a ski mask on now, but you can still see the mustache sticking out. And he's in the bathtub with a woolen ski mask on, explaining how to keep burglars out. The whole thing is so convoluted. Why would you want to make a robber a good guy? And that's what they're trying to do. He's got a family. He introduces his family to the audience. I don't get it.
I don't get that commercial. I've seen that commercial, and I don't get it either. And the other thing is, because of what we do for a living, I look at police reports, crime reports, and from all over the country, and burglars don't look like that. Only in cartoons do burglars look like that. What's actually coming through your house is someone crazy on meth, not some guy with a wife and kids and a clean ski mask. Like I'm with you. It's weird.
How about in Progressive's commercials, Jamie? Do you like Jamie?
For the longest time, I did not like Jamie, but Progressive has beaten me down. And now I accept Jamie, and Jamie even has his moments. The commercial, the commercial where Jamie is dating this woman who has a kid, and he tries to tell the kid that, he's not there to be the kid's dad. I can't remember the punchline of it. They're all, For the longest time, I just did not understand, like, why are y'all elbowing Flo out of the way for Jamie? Now, part of it is because the actress that plays Flo never has to work another day in her life. Right. She's a comedian there's a comedy improv troupe in Los Angeles called the Groundlings. She's one of the Groundlings.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like just a working actor and out there busting it, looking for that big break. She gets cast as Flo. Now she's worth millions and millions and never has to work again. So at first I thought maybe Progressive was like, all right, we're overpaying Flo. We need to bring somebody in. But then they find Jamie. And Jamie is who you're going to replace Flo with. And that didn't work, obviously, because now Progressive has Jamie and Flo and all those other characters, too.
At the beach. Yeah.
At the beach, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think Flo is very talented, very attractive, and I think she's going to be with us for a long, long time. She really is their face, don't you think?
I do, and they did it. And now, and I'm so happy for Flo. You should always be happy when somebody hits the equivalent of the jackpot. Because
do you think she could go on a TV series and be accepted as another character?
I do. I think she's talented enough.
I do.
I think so too. I
do. Yeah. Morons in the News is straight ahead. It's Bob and Sheri.
We've got them.
Dim-witted individuals. Simple people.
With Bob and Sheri.
You're a moron.
It's Morons in the News.
So don't ask me how I know this, but there was a song that was back during World War II, and it went something like, how you gonna keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris? And so it was kind of like a little funny song about how farm boys, now are sent overseas and they're seeing Paris for the first time. They don't want to go back to the farm. Well, that's what is going on with this first story with Morons in the News. About 40 police officers were dispatched to provide security at the Tokyo Paralympics. This was just last Saturday. They came from a small town. The name of the town is Yamanashi. And I don't know how big a town that is, but I'm going to guess maybe the size of Oklahoma City. The Japanese government said, we need police officers from all over. We don't have enough in Tokyo. So they sent 40 of these guys who had never been to Tokyo evidently before to, help out. They got so drunk that they started brawling with local citizens. Fights broke out. 40 of these cops beating up local people. So then the officers got arrested and they started looking into what was going on, the officials did, and about half of them were at a brothel the night before. So these guys came and said, holy smoke, look what's going on here. And they just got loaded and went to houses of ill repute. Obviously, that's against the rules. They were all arrested and sent home.
Oh, well, today's moron of the day is going to give you a big old laugh. This happened in Switzerland. So in the spring and summer months, Swiss dairy farmers take their cows up to the mountaintops to let them graze. And they spend the warm months grazing the beautiful fresh green grass of the Swiss Alps. And of course, Switzerland's famous for chocolate, which is, is made with milk. So this is part of the reason why, right? Well, over the course of the summer, some of the cows, for one reason or another, get injured and can't make their way back down the mountain for the winter. And so the farmers came up with a very good idea that made for a very bizarre video, which we're going to post on our Facebook right now. About 10 of the cows were too injured to make the hike down. So they sent up a helicopter and they airlifted the cows one at a time using a special mesh harness. So when you watch this video... Holy cow is right. You'll see the helicopter, you'll see the Alps, you'll see a long cable, and dangling at the bottom of the cable in a special harness is a cow. So everybody sing it with me. The hills are alive with the sound of music. It's such a great video. So one of the farmers said, one reason for the helicopters is that you can't reach some of these pastures by car, and some cows are injured, and we didn't want them to walk all the way down. So a reporter then asked the farmer, how do you think the cow liked the helicopter flight? And the farmer said, I didn't ask the cow how it felt after the flight, as it can't answer, but it's only a short distance. And the farmer went on to say, I didn't notice any difference between the cows that flew and the cows that walked. In total, there were about 1,000 cows up at the higher elevations grazing, and only about, 1% of them needed help getting down. And now that they're all down, they're getting brushed and groomed for the annual cow parade that signals the end of summer.
Don't you know that one cow said
Switzerland, doesn't it?
One cow said to the other, I can fly.
Can fly. When you see the face on this cow as it's coming through the air, the cow is like, yeah, I'm flying. Just what's it to you? So this will be on the Bob and Sheri Facebook right now.
That's fantastic. I can't imagine what that cost. Because
according to the farmers, it wasn't that bad. It was only a handful of the herd, and a few hours of helicopter time.
Yeah, but a few hours of helicopter time is thousands and thousands of dollars. At least in the United States it is. Maybe it's a little less in Switzerland. That speaks so well of the Swiss, doesn't it? That they were that sweet.
Really
they could have shot the cows or whatever, and they did not do that.
Nope. Even though the cows were injured or weak, they brought them home anyway. And I think that does speak well of the Swiss. And if it cost a little bit more, wouldn't you gladly pay a few bucks more for your Swiss chocolate or whatever, knowing that it came from cows that flew through the air with the greatest of ease? I love it. Go look at this video. It'll make your day. It's Bob and Sheri.
Congratulations, Sheri Lynch, named one of the most influential women in radio again this year. It's Bob and Sheri.
I would like to take a moment now to thank and speak directly to our longtime Bob and Sheri listeners. Thank you so much for supporting us over the years. We really appreciate it, all of the folks who work on the show, and especially Sheri and me. You probably were not aware, but we were nominated to be in the National Radio Hall of Fame. And it's a big deal. It's, all over the country, the Radio Hall of Fame. And we were not admitted. They did not admit us this year. There were several people who were up for it, and we did not get the Radio Hall of Fame spot. I don't know the name of the person who did. It was a woman, and I'm sure she's very talented. She does, from what I was told, a weekend show that is about tech. And she's on, scores of... Yeah. That's the name. Yeah, right. So I was unaware of her show, but congratulations to her. I was very disappointed, and then good news came. I don't even think you know this, Sheri. We were not admitted into the Radio Hall of Fame, but we have just been admitted into the Marriage Hall of Fame. And I'm very excited about that. Now, there is a little bit of a downside. We were not given the award as Best Spouse of the Year or something like that. They gave us the Lifetime Achievement Award in the Marriage Hall of Fame. So,
Look, I have no shame in my game. One more and I get a free sandwich at Jersey Mike's, man. I am psyched. I actually, true story. So I had some stuff happen in our larger family last week, and I'm on the phone with one of my relatives trying to sort this problem out. And I said, look, what you're asking for, I can't do. That'd cost me my marriage. Now, I know y'all think that me and husbands are like potato chips and I can't stop at just one, but I'm trying to keep this one in this house. And the person on the other end of the line went, you know what? I didn't think about that. You're right. I'm sorry. We'll come up with another plan.
So that person is going to now reset in his or her mind how far they can go to ask you to do something to save your marriage.
Yeah. And I also think that my family, they're kind of itching for a get together, and what better time than one of Sheri's weddings? And I'm just not here for it. I'm just not doing it. No.
Can you give us a hint as to what they were asking you to do?
Basically, bring some squabbling, angry folks to stay with me for a while.
Oh, yeah, your marriage is done. Oh, it's over. I'm picking him up at the door. Yep.
I mean, I cannot. There's after everything else that we've been through in the pandemic, like I'm like, I'm sorry. And the idea is, well, you've got space. Yeah. But that doesn't, just because I have the room for it, you have the room for it too. Like, I can't. I'm so
glad. I'm proud of you for not being codependent, for saying no for your own purposes. Good for you.
Well, I mean, literally, like, it was one of those things where if I had gotten off the phone and gone to my husband and said, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is you're about to be single again. The bad news is, and here's why. Like, there are things you can't ask of a spouse. Like, there are just lines that can't be crossed.
You know what would happen? You take these people in, and then there's the Georgia-Alabama football game. And he's watching it, and he can't take his eyes off of it. He wants to be left the hell alone. And one of those people comes in and plops down next to him and starts talking.
And that's exactly what would happen. That's exactly what would happen.
You know, I don't care how big your house is. If there are people staying with you, it's different than when it's just you and your spouse, or even you and your kids. If there are people in your house, even if your house is 5, 6, 7,000 square feet, very few are, even if it's that big, just knowing. Well, I mean, ask my ex. When we're doing morning drive, and I'd be home like 2:00 in the afternoon, and I'd go into a room and close the door. My very being in that room was irritating, and I'm the husband, let alone two people who are in the middle of a fight.
Well, let me just say that. There's this idea, and you and I have long lived with this, that what we do isn't really work. And then I'm just sitting here talking to Bob and goofing around. So bring it on. Bring farm animals in, bring squabbling neighbors in. Right. You know, it's not that much of a distraction, but even I know that there are times you just have to say absolutely no. Nope, you all cannot do this to me. I cannot break in a new husband at this point. I just can't. The secondary market in pre-owned husbands is problematic. You know, you never know what you're getting under the hood there. It's right. Bob and Sheri. Remember when you were a kid and you couldn't wait to be grown up so nobody could boss you around and you could do whatever you wanted and everything was going to be fun? How surprised were you that adulthood is an endless beating that never stops? And on top of everything else, you're expected to eat like gross food that is gray and weird and doesn't taste like anything when all you want is a great big bowl of cereal and some cartoons if you can get them. But if you could just have the cereal, what a difference that would make in your morning. Instead of some weird sludgy protein drink or some tasteless bar that feels like you're eating sawdust and dried up crunchy weird things, wouldn't you love a great big bowl of cereal? And wouldn't it be even better if it could be like cookies and cream or maple waffle, fruity frosted peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cocoa? Well, with Magic Spoon, you get to escape adulthood for a hot minute and enjoy the breakfast that you loved as a kid. Now, at our house, Magic Spoon is also breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and sometimes a snack. And here's why. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, only 140 calories a serving. It is keto-friendly and grain-free and gluten-free and soy-free and low-carb. And right now at Magic Spoon, you can even build your own box. Choose from any one of the flavors. And by the way, cookies and cream and maple waffle, Magic Spoon just brought them back permanently. These were limited time flavors, but there was an uproar from the people. The people demanded cookies and cream and maple waffle. And so you can add these to your box right now. Super delicious, super indulgent, great for breakfast, great for dessert. Go to magicspoon.com/Sheri and grab yourself a custom bundle of cereal to try today. And when you use the promo code Sheri at checkout, you can save $5 off your order, which is another bonus because adulthood is endlessly expensive. And with Magic Spoon, remember, they're so confident that you're going to love your cereal. They back it up with a 100% happiness guarantee. If it's not your thing for any reason, they will refund your money. No one's going to come to your door and interrogate you. No questions asked. So remember, grab your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/Sheri and use the code Sheri to save $5 off. And thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring the Bob and Sheri podcast. Let's get back to it. I live in a world of sound. I have earbuds in all the time. Earbuds for work, earbuds when I'm out walking with the dog, earbuds when I'm cleaning the house. And since I've discovered Raycon wireless earbuds, I'm really a happy camper. And here's why. A couple of reasons. First, Raycons are super comfortable. They have the perfect snug in-ear fit. They don't stick out at all. You honestly forget you're wearing them. Never thought I'd be able to say that about in-ear earbuds. And they have incredible sound. And they cost about half the price of other premium audio brands. And wait for this, a 32-hour battery life. So you pop your Raycons in and you get on with your day, and you're not constantly worried about having to recharge and stop what you're doing. And with Raycons, whether you're listening to music or a podcast with Raycon or the radio, with Raycons, you've just got crisp, beautiful, clear sound. And again, at about half the price of other premium audio brands. And if you've never tried wireless earbuds and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to love that, the Raycons come with a 45-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. You give them a try, you'll see what I mean. You're going to love the battery life, you're going to love the sound quality, you're going to love the comfortable fit, you're going to love the price. You can create your very own soundtrack to the day with Raycon. Right now, Bob and Sheri listeners can take 15% off their Raycon order at Raycon.com/Sheri. That's Raycon.com/Sheri. You'll save 15% on your whole order. So when the world gets crazy, you pop in your Raycons and you tune it out to your own private soundtrack. 15% off by Raycon.com/Sheri.
It's the Bob and Sheri Store's Sizzling Summer Sidewalk Sale. Everything in stock is on sale, 10% off. 10% off! Including Sheri Lynch's cookbook, Cooking with Cats. And swag you can use, like Bob and Sheri 24-ounce latte mugs, travel mugs, H2Go water bottles, and our very hot line of Mother of All Mothers merch, including tote bags, candles, wear-around tee and sleeve shirts. 10% off! It's the Sizzling Summer Sidewalk Sale. Everything is 10% off. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com and use the discount code podcast at checkout. Bob and Sheri, sponsored by Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Credit Card. You can earn 3% cash back on online shopping, making the essentials even more rewarding. Here's Bob and Sheri.
It is time now for Everyone Needs a Laugh. Here is comedian Kermit Apio.
I'm glad I'm married. I love being married, equally hated being single. I was not good at being single. Hard to meet women when your pickup line includes an apology and a Star Wars quote. And insecure and broke is one thing. Insecure, broke, and single, that's the frosting on the loser cake. I did this one time. This is true when I was single. I'm in the bank. I'm doing the transaction. I ask the teller out. Then I realized I just asked someone out who's looking at a computer view of my financial situation. There is nothing you can say at that very moment. I've got other accounts. This one I keep negative. My wife is great. My wife's from Texas. I married a Texan. And I remember when I proposed to her, I told her I'm from Hawaii and I sure would love to stay in this country. So... My wife is great. We've been married 16 years. Thank you. That's very nice. Yeah. That is very nice of you, but we've been together 23. I have to say that because she wants credit for time served. Married or not, been together a long time, 23 years. And we met in a bar because 23 years ago, pretty much what you had to do. We didn't have your texting and your Match.com. You had to be rejected face to face. Then you had to walk away in your Jedi robe. That sucked. No, you do want to dance. These aren't the dorks you're looking for. You're a dork. "23 years we've been together. I realized last year how long my wife and I have been together. We had a power outage in our neighborhood one night, and we're looking out the window, everything. Street lights out, every house, the whole neighborhood is pitch black, and I hear my wife's voice say this. So, did you pay the bill? No, I made them so mad they went, you know what, shut the whole town down. I hate that guy. Hey, I realize she's half joking, but that still means half her brain went, you know, it could have been him. 23 years we've been together. My wife and I have been together so long that she could be mad at me and I could not know why. And I'm cool with that. Because I've learned that knowing doesn't help at all. I don't know what causes a hurricane, but I do know when it's time to hide in the bathroom. I know that part. She was mad at me in the morning one time. I just woke up. What could I have done? I'm not kidding. I wake up, I walk out, I sit down. Oh, I can't believe, because you're just talking about something I was going to say, and then you were just Are you mad at me? Well, yes, I am. Here comes a rookie mistake. Why? Right? I asked. Here's why she was mad at me, and I'm not making this up. My wife was mad at me. Because I cheated on her in her dream. Yep, you ever took a test where there were no correct answers? I did. There's nothing you can do. You just sit there and hope for a UFO abduction. That's all you got. I can't believe you did that. Well, I didn't do that. Oh, yes, you did. You had a penguin head and a reggae hat, but I knew it was you the whole time. So I did the only thing I could think to do. I went back to sleep and apologized to her in my dream. So
that is comedian Kermit Apio. You can watch that set and all the comics that we feature on our website, bobandsheri.com. I have hiccups, I'm sorry. BOBANDSHERI.com. Click on more stuff from the show and look for Everyone Needs a Laugh. It's Bob and Sheri.
Swag you can use. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com.
Okay, we have Bob and Sheri breaking news here. The subways in New York are flooding. Lake Tahoe is burning, and Louisiana is fighting for survival. But there is some good news. The federal government is investigating why McDonald's ice cream machines are seemingly always broken. The feds are investigating. Now, I read this on a post from CBS News, and they started off with three people who just on Twitter decided to comment. And here's the first one from Mike. It's actually ironic that the only universal American experience is learning to play the recorder and being unable to purchase McDonald's ice cream because the machine is broken. The next one is from Miss Mady. And she said, I recently exemplified the principle of good, better, best by driving past 3 McDonald's on my way to an In-N-Out because I knew that their ice cream machine would be working. And finally, this is from Vic. If you're on death row, ask for McDonald's ice cream as your last meal. They will never find a working machine and you will get to live. So those are three, pretty clever comments about it. But as I mentioned, the federal government is getting involved in this. And here's why. At least one company's attempt to fix, and again, this is CBS News, to fix McFlurry machines has led to a legal showdown with their manufacturer, Taylor Commercial Food Service. In 2019, a startup called Kitsch developed software to make it easier for restaurant owners to fix their broken ice cream machines. The technology was wildly popular, bringing Kitsch up to $50 million valuation. Before, Taylor abruptly barred restaurant owners from using it, according to a report from Wired. So here's the bottom line on this. They're looking into whether or not the company that produces and also fixes the McDonald's ice cream machines has ignored a way to do it cheaply. It ignored a new possibility that local owners can fix it with this new technology, so that their company would be cut out of the very lucrative repair bills. So that's where we stand right now. We don't know what's going to happen with this. But if you were wondering, why is this happening, this could be it. Isn't that something?
It's basically racketeering. I mean, it's like mobs. It's mob stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If this is the case, and I have to say if at this point.
The American people, at a time in history when everything is crap, the fact that you can't get a soft serve at McDonald's is just the icing on the cake. Like, these people need to have the book thrown at them.
I think so too, and I think they will. And McDonald's is it's a great company, and if this has been made light, then they're going to have to get the new app, and the local guy can fix it. So this could be good news if you're a fan of McDonald's.
What does it say about human beings, though, that like everything has to be a scam? Everything has to be rigged. The ice cream machines at there's a conspiracy around the ice cream machines at McDonald's. It just says nothing good about us. Nothing good at all.
Because if this is true, the company that manufactures and repairs the machines is aware of what the deal is, that they just are not willing to give up millions and millions of dollars in repair bills that they can get.
And there was at some point, there was a meeting or a conversation where somebody said, you know what? I mean, what would be great is if these machines were kind of finicky and there was only one way to get them repaired and we had the monopoly on that. And somebody else said, yeah, wouldn't that be great? And then they did a few lines of code and here we are today.
The Wall Street Journal reported this, and it's the Federal Trade Commission that is in a preliminary investigation, and they say this is the quote, the existence of a preliminary investigation does not indicate the FTC or its staff found any wrongdoing, according to the Wall Street Journal. So it's still up in the air. It's just kind of interesting that there is a cheap fix out there, and they weren't using it. Speaking of restaurants, Mary found this thing on TikTok, and it was really interesting. There's something called graveyard kitchens that are popping up around the United States. And somebody from DoorDash kind of shone a light on what's going on. Let's say you have an Italian restaurant. It's called something like Dantello's, right? Dantello's Italian food. And there's another restaurant called Burger Hut. And there might be another restaurant called Allentown Chicken or whatever. As many as 12 restaurants that are independent restaurants are actually only using one kitchen. So you go online to like a DoorDash and you say, I feel like some fried chicken. I'm going to go to Allentown Chicken, get some fried. Well, the guy who's cooking the fried chicken is also making the Italian food, or at least he's in the same kitchen with a couple of other cooks. You're calling one place, and it's also serving like a dozen restaurants. It's kind of genius.
It's very genius, especially now when restaurants are having a hard time finding cooks and servers and all of that. Mm-hmm. But I know that for someone like you, when someone like you orders Italian food, you don't want it coming from a graveyard kitchen where they're doing Italian, Chinese burgers, chicken, and wings.
No.
I know that you don't.
I want the local owners individually to own the restaurants. I agree with you. And I just don't trust that somebody can make all that different type of food all that great.
But you know what this is, Bob? This is the restaurant version of Yum Brands. Yum Brands, that's the company that owns like Taco Bell and Baskin and Robbins. Remember when once upon a time you didn't have fast food restaurants clustered in the same building, but now you pull off an exit on the interstate and you'll find a Dunkin' Donuts, a KFC, and a Subway all sharing like the space.
Well, Taco Bell is owned by KFC, aren't they? I think they are.
Yeah, that's the company is called Yum Brands. So now this is the big restaurant version of what's already been happening in fast food.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, all of humanity will be surviving on Hot Pockets and Tang. It's coming. It's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri go.
Down the rabbit hole.
So I'm on YouTube watching, I think, UFO stuff, if I'm being completely honest. And the algorithm served this up to me. I'd never seen it before. And it's a TV commercial for Coke from back in the day. And what's especially interesting about it is like doctors have linked the obesity crisis in America to us all drinking too much soda and in sizes that are insane. Like you go into a restaurant now and a small soda is a bucket. Right. A movie theater large soda is enough for a village of thirsty people. Right. But back in the day when like Coke and soda initially hit the stores, the servings were small. They were like what we call mini bottles now. Right.
8 ounce.
Little mini bottles.
6 or 8 ounces. Yeah. Right. That's right.
So this commercial is from that day, but it's kind of hysterical. And when I showed it to Max, he said, "Can you believe how slowly TV commercials used to move?" So this is a TV ad for Coke, and it's called Coke Keeps You Thin. Here we go.
You know, this was me 5 years ago, and it's still me. Because I confess I'm a waistline watcher from way back. Well, that's enough for today. Now for a lively lift. Ice-cold Coca-Cola. There's no waistline worry with Coke, you know. Actually, this individual size bottle has no more calories than half a grapefruit. Another thing, the cold, crisp taste of Coke is so satisfying, it keeps me from eating something else that might really add those pounds. Coke's a natural, wholesome blending of pure food flavors. I guess that's why everyone likes the refreshing new feeling you get, only from not-too-sweet Coca-Cola. And no wonder. Lively, lifty Coca-Cola provides a welcome bit of quick energy between meals. Makes for a pleasant pause in a busy day. Oh, and remember, Coke is low in calories, too. Say, now, don't you get any thinner.
Wow. Holy cow.
Right?
Wow, it's one lie after another. And I say that as a Coca-Cola aficionado. I love Coca-Cola. But holy cow, that's a bunch of lies strung together.
There were so many things in there that I loved that I did not know where to start. I liked when she said, it gives you a lively lift of energy between meals. And how she said
wholesome, it's wholesome ingredients.
Wholesome ingredients. I can remember my mom told me this, that when she was pregnant with my older brother, her doctor told her that she should, she want to keep your pregnancy weight gain to a minimum. And so he told her, if she felt like snacking, maybe have a cigarette and some coffee.
Yeah, right after he told her that, he put out his own cigarette right there in the examination room.
She told me that the two of them were sitting there in the office across the desk from each other, having a smoke and talking about her progress through the pregnancy. My brother turned out fine. He's tall and healthy and all of that. But that's what that sounds like to me. Like, if you want to keep your weight down, have a Coke and a smoke. It just is insane.
I don't know why I remember this, but I overheard, I was tagging along with my mother somewhere, and she stopped by Connie Zimmerman's house. And the two of them, I just sat in front of the TV, but I could hear the two of them in the other room. And evidently Connie was having trouble with regularity. That's all I'm going to say. And so I didn't really follow everything they were saying because I was like 8 years old, 10 years old. But Connie was having trouble with irregularity. And she said that she went to the doctor, and my mother said, "What did he say?" And he said, "When you get up in the morning, why don't you have a Coke and a cigarette? And that should get things going. Holy cow.
I was trying to, after I watched this, and we're going to post this Coke ad on Facebook so you can look at it. It's in black and white, so it's from way back. I was trying to remember, what is the first TV commercial for Coke that I remember as a kid? And I think the first one is the one where they had that, want to teach the world to sing. Wasn't that a Coke commercial? Or was that a McDonald's commercial?
That was a hit song. And it was so popular, they turned it into a, Coke didn't, but somebody picked up on it, and it became a worldwide hit. Mm-hmm.
What's the first Coke?
You want to buy the world a Coke. That was and
keep
that was
them.
The plan.
It's the real thing. Yeah, that one.
Right.
Okay, so
the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I like to teach the world to sing with me. Perfect harmony, perfect harmony. I like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company.
It's genius. It's Madison Avenue
It
genius.
really is. It's some fizzy colored sugary water.
I know it. But I mean, the genius behind this was not only the positivity of it, but the time that I think that was released was like the peace love thing, Woodstock, you know. So it sort of was perfect timing to the country's mood, at least part of the country's mood.
The way the world is right now, I don't think that buying them a Coke is going to bring them together. Now, maybe some other Coke, but definitely not like a soft drink. Like, it's just what a more innocent idea of the world, you know?
It's true. It's very, very true. Now, it's incorrect, but it was innocent. So it's whether or not you want reality or you want to stick your head in the sand. Sheri, I'm glad you brought that up. That was fun.
Remember, it'll keep you thin and give you that lift of energy between meals. We'll put that up on our Facebook right now. It's Bob and Sheri.
Instant access to the podcast, and fun side. Just download the free Bob and Sheri app.
And now on the Bob and Sheri Show, it's another exciting episode of Things Bob Didn't Know.
Jeez, you really emphasized another. Like, I can't believe we're going to do another thing that Bob didn't know. But yes, here we are doing this. I have read so many books about World War II. And a lot of guys, you know, are interested in World War II. I probably have 20 books in my little library on them. And of course, a lot of it is about the horrors of the Nazis. Despite all of those books, I never realized this fact. The SS, which was the killing arm, the worst of the Nazis, established a special Nazi Aryan breeding program in Norway called Lebensborn. Thousands of these children are still alive today.
Oh, yeah.
So what it was they would take very good-looking, Aryan-looking, you know, young people, maybe in their late teens or early 20s, blonde hair, blue eyes, and they would say, well, you need to procreate because we need new Nazis and we want them to look like you. Thousands of these children are still alive today. And one of the most famous is ABBA's Annie Frid Lyngstad. She is part of the Nazi breeding program. She was one of the children. And of course, what would she be, in her 70s today? Something like that, I guess?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Mamma Mia. Oh, Mamma Mia. And it's funny that song is one of their biggest hits, you know? Isn't that amazing? ABBA, I guess, is always going to be with us, aren't they?
Well, they've released new music. They're releasing new music.
Has that been released yet, or are they just still talking about it?
I just read in my news feed that the child of one of the grown child of one of the ABBA members said that they went into the studio not really knowing what it would feel like. And it was like they had never left and the music just flowed. And so they're also going on tour, but not as themselves. They're going on tour with an animated version of themselves. And I was looking at photos of the ABBA band members in digital motion capture suits, because the entire concert, they don't want to tour, and you can't blame them. They're in their 70s, I guess. And, there's a global pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So they're in these motion capture suits, and they'll be animated. So it's the actual band members that'll be performing, but it'll be a cartoon, I guess. And then you'll be able to, pay-per-view and watch that. And there's a new album coming out and a couple of new songs that I think have been released.
Is this one of them, Max?
Yes. Of heart and mind, the likes of which are rare and oh so hard to find. Do I have it in me?
That's still a great voice, but you can tell it's an older voice, can't you?
I know I hear a bittersweet song.
I mean, it's an adult voice for sure.
It's an adult voice, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. Say what you want about ABBA. They really could sing. They really had interesting sort of production. And every song is a big hook. I don't care what David Crosby said. He said there's not one song that they've ever done that was any good. No, shut up. Yeah, I mean, they're fun songs.
And you wonder why I'm here today.
Anybody that's going to criticize ABBA and say they never had a good song needs to be smacked in their whole face and then smacked again. Okay?
This is another one.
But in the shape and form
they didn't want to tour 20 years ago. Weren't they offered like $1 billion for a worldwide tour and they turned it down?
Yeah.
So they've never lived. They're a studio group basically there.
Yeah, we have to break.
It's Bob and Sheri. Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I bet it can be hard work. But you know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy.
It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico Easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
Bob and Sheri, sponsored by Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Credit Card. You can earn 3% cash back on online shopping, making the essentials even more rewarding. Here's Bob and Sheri.
It is Talkback time. Now, Max has something really special for you here. There are lots of ways you can reach the show. If you have our app, it's free in Google Play and the Apple Store. There's a little microphone at the bottom of the screen. You just tap it and talk, and like magic, you will appear on the show.
Hi, Bob and Sheri. The other day, Sheri was talking about the functionality of cargo pants, and it made me think of the Adam Sandler song Phone Wallet Keys. If you can clean up the language on that, it might be a good thing for the rabbit hole or for Everyone Needs a Laugh. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Oh, that's sweet.
Phone Wallet Keys.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Here we go again. Come on. I'm heading out, and all I'm taking with me is my phone, wallet, keys. Yeah, phone, wallet, keys. Just those three things, please. Need my phone, wallet, keys. Got my credit cards in my wallet. Got my phone, you can call it. Master lock on my front door. That's what my keys are for. My phone, wallet, keys. Yeah, phone, wallet, keys. Good things come in trees. Need my phone, wallet, keys. If I'm going to the zoo, I need my phone, wallet, keys. If I'm getting a face tattoo, I need my phone, wallet, keys. If I'm going out to a wedding, if it's wintertime and I'm sledding, if I'm at that daddy-daughter dance, my phone, wallet, keys are in my pants. I'm going on vacation to the West Indies, and I don't got no luggage, just got phone, wallet, keys. I roll on up to the airport, lady asked for my passport. Okay. Yes, I need my phone, wallet, passport, keys. Phone, wallet, passport, keys. Now I need four things, bitch, please. Phone, wallet, passport, keys. I'm finally on the plane, I'm riding Delta. The lady farted next to me, I smelt her. We get to 30,000 feet. I recline my seat, down to watch a movie. Stop! I forgot my laptop. Damn it. Now I need my laptop, phone, wallet, passport, keys. Laptop, phone, wallet, passport, keys. Laptop, phone, wallet, passport, keys. I'm swinging my all over the place. I'm hurting ya. I'm carrying so much shit. I got a hernia. No place to put it. What should I do? Probably should take my iPad too. What else did I forget?
Sandman, you need tons of shit.
My Tic Tacs, my backpack, my Zippo ladder, my charge bag, my sunglasses, my hairspray, my headphones.
The Beats by Dre.
My notebook, my GoPro, my vape pen, my crossbow, my toothpick, my pocket knife. Oh, I forgot my wife. Damn.
Phone, wallet, keys.
It used to be so easy with my phone, my wallet, and my keys.
Phone, wallet, keys.
Yeah.
Phone, wallet, keys.
It used to be a breezy with my phone, my wallet, and my keys. My pockets got so heavy now I'm cramping. Each time I leave my house, it's like I'm camping. I'm miserable, just standing around. I'm like a walking lost and found. You know I'd rather stay at home where all I need's my phone.
Phone.
Much happier at home, just playing with my phone.
Phone.
Yeah.
Phone.
Yeah, I'll just stay at home and fiddle with my phone on the toilet.
It's so true. It is so true. I've never heard that before. You know, he has to do an update on that because I put everything in one drawer: phone, wallet, keys, and a mask. So when I go out, it's like, do I have the phone? Do I have the wallet? Because I have to have the phone. If I go out and my wife tries to call me, I am in for it if I don't have the phone. It's phone, wallet, keys, and mask. And it looks like the mask is going to be around for a while.
I have masks. I have a box of disposables in my car. I have masks in my bag, masks in my glove box, masks in the kitchen, masks by the front door. It's crazy. You say never, Bob, but before this is all done, you're going to be wearing cargo pants because you need the storage space.
You may be right. I've never had them, but you know, there are all those things that you have to remember. Has this happened to you? I got so used to the freedom of going to certain places, like if you're going to eat outside without a mask, that I started to get out of my car and go into some place, and then I have to go all the way back again, just like the beginning of the whole thing, because this damn variant is so horrible, and spreads so quickly, 4 times as fast. So then you go, it's like it's a rerun again, going and getting a mask again.
This is why you have to have them everywhere you go. And
yeah, you should. You're right.
And different styles, too, because if you're going to be wearing it for a long time, you want one of those ones that's more breathable. If you're just running in and out of CVS, you can get by. Like, I have one that has Star Wars characters on it that's just good for short runs. This is the world now. This is just the world.
I bought one. I don't know where I was, but I don't know why I wanted it, but it was black with white dots on it. And I'd forgotten about it. And Mary and I got out of the car and I put it on. She said, "Are you wearing something with polka dots?" And I went, They're just dots.
A man can't be whimsical.
Another one?
A man can't bring a little whimsy into a dystopian hellscape. Boy, you can't get a break. It's Bob and Sheri. I've gotten a bunch of DMs on my Instagram and our Facebook with people saying, "How are you doing with Karamia being away at school? Like, what's it like?" And I'm just going to be honest. You know, I had a couple of days of really like hard crying because I couldn't believe, like, that was my favorite part of my whole life so far, was having kids in the house and all that mom chaos. I mean, truly my favorite part of my life. And I can't believe that chapter's over. So I had a couple of days of really, really hard crying. And my older daughter has informed me that she's never coming back. Well, she might come back to visit, but she plans to never live here again. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, that's the natural order of things. Ideally, You're supposed to like eventually leave home and only come back to visit. Right. So she and I and her sister, we all cleaned out her room and I turned it into a guest room. And I thought that would be helpful, you know, but instead it's become like you're not a Harry Potter fan, Bob, so you don't know what the room of requirement is. In the Harry Potter universe at Hogwarts Castle.
No, but I've been married, so I do know about the room of requirement.
The room of requirement is this room in Hogwarts Castle, and you go into it, and it shows you what you need, basically, what you need to see or want to see, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that can be, it can be a painful thing, but it's also, in the world of the story, it's a good thing. It moves your journey forward. Mm-hmm. Well, my daughter's bedroom, which now looks absolutely nothing like my daughter's bedroom, in part because I shoveled out, and this is no exaggeration, 4 loads of laundry and 11 bags of trash. That is not an exaggeration at all. 4 loads of laundry, 11 bags of trash. All of her LED lights and tapestries, she took them all down and took them to school with her. So now the room looks like just a room, just a bedroom, white walls, a bed, some pillows. So now it's the place where I go to feel sorry for myself. It's the room of requirement.
Oh my God.
Where I go to feel sorry for myself.
God, that's like pulling a scab off like every day. Stop it.
But it's also become excellent cardio, and here's why. Kevin is watching me like a hawk, in part because he's been living with someone who is very deeply depressed and crying all the time and saying things like, well, if God takes me now, I guess my work on earth is done. So he's on edge.
You're starting to sound like Mary's, and God rest her soul, Mary's grandmother. Except Mary's grandmother was old enough to be your grandmother. You got to stop this.
That's what Kev says. But it is what it is. So if he comes into the house and can't find me immediately, he knows where to go. But I can hear him because he wears work boots or hiking boots all the time. I can hear him moving around through the house. So I'll be down in my room of requirement feeling very sorry for myself and just sobbing and wailing. And I'll hear the hiking boots moving through the house. And when they get to the point where I'm going to get busted, I break into a full sprint and launch myself into another zone so that when he comes down to try to catch me sitting in the room crying, he never can. So he'll be like, why are you crying? And I have to come up with reasons for why I'm crying. Why are you crying now? Because somebody put my Lemony Snicket books out of order. Like, I'm just making up all this crazy stuff because the cat's sitting in the sun in a very scenic way. Like, it is ridiculous.
Let me jump in here for a second and speak to
here.
A specific part of our audience right now. Are you thinking of getting married and starting a family? Are you?
You should.
This is what happens. Why don't you go ahead and play this back? And just listen to it like 3 or 4 times. This is what happens.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't do it. I have one of my nieces is pregnant, and you're like, what's the one thing you think I should know, Aunt Sheri? That you're going to spend the rest of your life having your heart broken. And she's like, I'm sorry I called.
I bet. You got to snap out of this.
I'm not going to be snapping out of it. You're just going to have to learn to live with it. Now, coming up, I do have something really exciting. Would you like to love your body? Would you like to love the skin you're in? Do you struggle with just being so critical of yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror and just being so hateful? There's a really simple, wonderful thing you can do that will help, that will trick your brain into loving your body more. We've got it coming up. It's Bob and Sheri.
You read it once.
I don't believe that.
And then you read it again.
I can't believe this.
It's Bob and Sheri's.
I believe this shit.
I cannot believe this.
The human brain is an amazing machine. It's just such a phenomenal organ. When you think about what the brain is and what it can do, the way it can not only remember the past, but imagine the future, imagine things that could never happen, that all of the things your brain can do. It's just astonishing. But you can also trick the human brain, because as smart as it is, you can actually trick it and make your brain behave better. And here's the most fascinating little thing that I learned in the past couple of days. When you are in the middle of just self-hatred, specifically body self-hatred. You think that you're doughy, or you're too short, or you're fat, or there's something wrong with your nose, or you're bow-legged, or whatever it is. Whatever of the million gazillion infinite reasons that you could find to criticize yourself, there's a way to trick your brain into being less negative. And that is looking at images of blue and green water. Like we always knew that going outside for a walk was good for your mental health, and for all kinds of reasons, right? But now we know that people who look at high-res images, so like let's say you don't have a river in your backyard or the ocean or whatever, forest, right? People who look at high-res images of blue water, green trees, turquoise beaches, whatever, they have the biggest impact on feeling positive about their own bodies. And part of it is because nature distracts the brain from negative thoughts. So if that's why if you're really having an awful day, it's good to like go outside and go for a walk or a bike ride or something. Yeah. Because nature does distract the brain. But there's this really weird thing about this direct connection between that distraction and negative body images. They looked at people, they showed them high-res images of buildings, beautiful buildings and city scenes and all of that. No benefit at all. Then they showed a group of people lots and lots of images of green things, fields of grass and trees and just spectacular forest scenes. Some benefit. But then they showed people images of coastal scenes, rivers, blue water, waterfalls, swimming pools. And those people had the most dramatic improvement in the way they felt about their bodies.
Isn't that something? The connection between, I've heard that before, the colors before, and certainly water before. But I never heard it connected to negative thoughts about your body. That's an interesting connection, Seemingly it's random.
Images with blue water and blue sky are the most effective at promoting a healthy body image, as opposed to green images or building images, whatever. This whole thing is about to be published in a bunch of the different medical journals. So right now, if you may not have body dysmorphic disorder, it might not be that bad, but if you are really fixated and critical about a part of your body, maybe it's your face or maybe it's your legs or your hips or whatever, and you dwell on it and you hate it and you spend a ton of time comparing yourself negatively to other people and you avoid looking in the mirror and you're always trying to conceal what you imagine your flaws are, immediately go online, Google blue water images and stare at them. And let yourself do that every day. And maybe it'll help. And even if it helps just a little bit, isn't that better than living in that fog of self-hatred?
Yeah. I found that very interesting, and thank you for bringing it up. But I was distracted at the beginning when you were saying all of the different things that we can hate about our bodies, including maybe you're bow-legged. I can't remember the last time I saw an actual bow-legged person. Can you?
Oh, yeah. I know someone who's bow-legged. Yeah.
You know somebody who's bow-legged? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's that uncommon. I mean, there's bow-legged, and then you can be slightly bow-legged, and then there's like, howdy, partner, where's your horse? I mean, that's maybe what you're imagining.
That's what I think of. I always think of a cowboy that, he wasn't bow-legged, but he's out there on the range, with the horse, and he became bow-legged. Do you think that happens? Does that happen to cowboys that are out there like that?
I'm trying to remember the
you were
guys
living in Wyoming for so long. I mean,
they walk a little bit different, but I always thought maybe that was down to the boots. But I actually, because I know someone who's bow-legged, and it's ever so slight, but she's so self-conscious about it that she never wears.
Is she really?
Like she would never wear leggings or skinny jeans. Right? Because she's just really self-conscious about it.
Right? No kidding.
And the amount of energy.
How about a bathing suit? I mean,
not if it can be avoided. I mean, not if it can be helped. Like she'd go to the beach, but but there are a lot of people who would say to you if they could feel safe to be honest, I hate this about myself. And you would look at them and go, what? are you talking about? Like you're
Christy
beautiful.
Brinkley famously said that she did not like to be photographed from behind in a bathing suit. She said she saw a picture of herself in a bathing suit, like a red bathing suit. And this is when she was in her prime, going up a ladder to go off a diving board. I guess that was the shot. And she said, I just don't like that angle from me. That's Christy Brinkley.
That's Christy Brinkley. So if Christy Brinkley sits around with that negative, hateful voice in her head, what are the rest of us supposed to do? I'll put this on Facebook so you can check it out. Blue water, blue water, blue water. It's Bob and Sheri.
Swag you can use. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com.
We were talking a little while ago about how I've turned my daughter's bedroom into the place where I go cry and feel sad about this new chapter of my life. And Andy DM'd me on Instagram and said, girl, you're not looking at this the right way. Now that you don't have those kids in the house, you and that hot man of yours can really get it on. LOL, LOL. Okay, so true story. The other day, I'm sitting on the couch watching the Showtime UFO documentary. All I did last week was cry and look at things about UFOs. So I'm sitting there and watching like episode 3 of the UFO documentary. My husband strolls into the living room and he goes, "Ha, I'm not wearing pants." And I thought to myself, oh my God, he's not wearing pants. I'm not ready for that chapter. I'm just going to tell y'all straight. I'm not interested in that right now. I have to be done crying before you walking around without your pants on is a thing that I'm going to be able to enjoy at all.
Wow. But it's something that he now has the option of doing, and so do you. I mean, there is something freeing about the house is just ours, right?
Not yet for me, actually. No, it isn't. So maybe I'll get there, but I don't feel that way yet. And he's gleeful. He's like, I'm watching football and I'm doing what I want and I don't have to wear pants. Okay, that's great. That's every woman's dream, by the way. Like I'm married to Hank Hill. Like that's everybody's dream. And he actually said to me, like you did, he's like, I don't know why you're wearing all those clothes. Read the room, Chief. Like this is not the time for that. My head is not there.
I took a shower. They're gone from our house too. So it's just Mary and me. I took a shower the other day and I reached for the towel, which is hanging right outside the shower area. And it was kind of damp. It had not dried properly from the last shower I took. And so I used it, but I wanted a really dry towel. And I just decided to walk right through the house and get me a towel because there's nobody else here. The only thing I have to look out for is the front door. We replaced it. It used to be solid, and now it's panes of glass. So you never know when you're going to get a delivery or a friend coming over, right? You have to be a little bit on guard.
Well, the whole thing, like either you're a naked person or you're not a naked person. And I am not a naked person. I'm cold for starters. I'm like a hairless cat. I'm cold all year round, depending on if there's a fan going in the room. You've been to my house. We have windows and I don't have curtains on any of my windows because I like the daylight coming in.
Right.
And I have cats that like to jump on me and with their claws. And I have a dog that's always I'm just not a naked person. And guess what? I'm not going to become a naked person now. That is not going to be a thing that's happening. And what is it about y'all, men/husbands, particularly boyfriends, where you see that your woman is sobbing and you think a helicopter dance is going to turn this day around? What is that?
Because it should.
What is that? And can that be bottled? Because if that could be bottled, I'll take that. I'll ask my doctor if a helicopter dance is right for me. But just I'm going to dry my tears and go, oh, I forgot you could spin that thing like a propeller.
Hey, heads up. Don't bend over the dishwasher.
Oh, never. It's Bob and Sheri.
Instant access to the podcast, and fun side. Just download the free Bob and Sheri app.
Viral online thread has people sharing unwritten rules that every traveler should follow if you go into a foreign country. So if for some reason, you're traveling out of the country, either for pleasure, maybe business, heads up on this. This first one is really interesting. Not many of us are going to Cuba. But in Cuba, it often looks like there's no line for something, but there is. It is called the El Ultimo. And when you arrive somewhere, you ask El Ultimo, and whoever is last in line raises their hand. You are now El Ultimo, and you know who is in front of you. In the meantime, you can sit down in the shade rather than standing in a line that may be, in blaring sunlight. That kind of is genius. I don't know that it would work in America.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. Because what you're describing is a little bit the honor system.
It is. And it's working together. Yeah, forget it. We're not doing that right now. No way. Scandinavia, you don't talk about religion. You got one? That's great. But it's not something to bring up and discuss. We do that in some parts of America, but not all.
That used to be kind of a given in America.
Yeah.
When did that change? Because there was a saying, don't ever bring up religion or politics. At the dinner table or whatever. When did that change? I feel like it's since I've been an adult that's shifted.
I don't know. I would guess the 90s. I know that especially in the South and maybe parts of the Midwest, the easy way for people who want to bring that up would be they just met you. They would say, "So where's your church? Which church do you go to?" And it gets them into it. These days, who knows? Finland, the people there say, we are not trying to be rude, but we just don't do small talk. Ireland, seriously, nobody cares if you have an Irish great aunt twice removed. That absolutely does not make you Irish, and it's pretty insulting to claim otherwise. I bet that happens a lot. There are so many Irish people of Irish derivation in America.
Let me stop you here. That Finland thing, no small talk. Who doesn't want to go live there immediately?
I know.
How do you dodge? What is a life without small talk like? I mean, other than blissful, but what is a life without small talk like? You don't converse at all? Do you jump right into deep, heavy subjects? Do you what does that look like? A life without small talk?
when they say small talk, it's like you're going into a luncheonette or you're going into a coffee shop. You don't say, "Well, how's your day going there, barista?" You just say, "I'll have coffee black," or whatever it is. Another one on Finland, which is similar, don't go too near to anyone. Personal space is huge.
Oh my God, personal space and no small talk?
Both. I knew you were going to say that.
Forget Iowa. Is this heaven? What are we talking about here? This is amazing. Next, you'll tell me they've outlawed robocalls in Finland, and I'm getting my passport updated. Wow.
Here is one that Americans are saying they don't want you to do. Do not pick up our babies anywhere. I went to a Costco with a few Korean foreign exchange student friends, and one of them picked up a baby from a nearby cart. The mother was looking away, and when she turned back, I saw the instant fear in her eyes. I told my friend to put the baby down right away and explained to the mom they were foreign and it's okay to touch babies in Korea. I'm okay with our telling the world not to touch our babies.
Do they kind of act like babies belong to everyone there? Is that the idea?
We're all guessing, but I think it's just like, we just all love babies, and I want to see this baby. It's like, I think it's more like, a lot of people will go up and pet your dog. I think it's probably something along the lines of that. I don't want you picking up my baby. Not at all, for a variety of reasons.
That goes so against everything that we are. Well, of course, we live in a culture of stranger danger, and babies do get snatched, right? So it's not like it never happens. It does happen.
Right.
If I'm at a Costco and I turn around and some stranger's hefting my kid out of the shopping cart, I'm going to lose my mind. Exactly.
Southern Italy, both guys and girls say hi with a kiss on each cheek. There is no such thing as personal space. It's the exact opposite of Finland.
Yeah.
If you're driving, be extremely careful. Everything is supposed to be an advice, not an actual law. if you happen to have someone's friend or grandmother, you'll relate to this, Sheri. If you happen to have somebody's friend or grandmother cook for you, make sure you compliment her thoroughly. And clearing, that it's an amazing meal wherever you're from. There's a reasonable chance there that actually that could be true.
I just have to say, if someone's Italian grandma cooks for you, you need to eat until you're physically sick. I mean,
Exactly.
until you have like meat sweats and a panicky worry that you're not going to make it out alive. Only then do you put your fork down and bring a tote bag because you're bringing leftovers home.
That's
and
right.
Don't say no. Don't dare
That's
say
right.
no.
More Italian, Southern Italian. If you're clubbing, don't randomly approach girls. That's interesting. Unless you really know what you're doing. Guys tend to be overprotective with the girls that belong to their group. And they can spot an American a mile away. In Italy, if you're a girl, you're going to get hit on no matter what. Try not to be too rude and just dismiss the guy laughing about it. Don't wear white socks with sandals. You're going to be laughed at. Well, you're going to be laughed at here in the United States quietly, right? And finally, if you show any sort of effort of speaking Italian, you're going to be loved for it. Whereas in France, I think you're going to be hated for it. You know, they're just going to go, oh, good Lord, that's awful. You didn't try very hard.
I'm not worried about any of these rules because I'm going to Finland. No small talk, personal space. Yeah, the winters are cutting along in dark, but I haven't left the house in a long time anyway. What difference would it make? It's Bob and Sheri.
Sign up for the newsletter with Bob and Sheri exclusive articles. Sign up now at bobandsheri.com.
Some folks have posted things that they didn't realize when they moved in together. People who were living alone for a while, and all of a sudden you either become engaged or, you just want to be with each other. So now you're living together. And here are a few of them. That your partner may follow you around the house just because. What are you doing now? What are you doing now?
That is so true.
I think it'd be cute. That'd be cute for a while. That'd drive me crazy after a while. You think that's true?
It's so true. And it's really bad for somebody like me who feels like she must be working at all times and being productive. When my husband comes in, what you doing? I know it looks like I'm sitting here reading People magazine, but actually I'm doing laundry. And he's like, you don't have to explain yourself to me. Yes, I do have to explain myself to everybody. It's awful.
But the idea that, you're in the other room and somebody is following you, I guess that's sort of the novelty of it, I guess. I've got somebody in my house. They're living here.
I've been with my husband since 2008. I'll still come up behind him. What are you doing? Well, what are you going to do after you finish doing that? It's just, I don't know. It's a human thing, maybe.
Mary does, what are you doing now? Here's another one somebody posted. The amount of time you spend shouting, what? From one room to the other. That's this house. She thinks that I've had headphones on since I was 4 years old, right? She thinks that my hearing is it's like Spidey hearing, that I can hear it. She's on the other side of the house. I'm here with, like a TV going or something. And she'll go, what are you going to say? What? Now I got to get up and go over there. I think that drives me out of my mind and probably other people too. Folding towels. There's a wrong way, evidently, to fold towels. And we have that going here. Like when I was living alone, I would take a bath towel and I would fold it over once and then fold it over so that it meets at the end. And I put it in the laundry area. She said, would you please stop doing that? I went, why? Well, that's not the way you fold a towel. You take up too much room. It's the same towel. No, it's not. Fold it this way halfway, then fold it this way halfway. Then you bring it down and it's thinner. And then I say, but it stacks up higher, I think. No, it doesn't. Just do it. And you would be surprised how long it took me to break myself of that habit of how I folded the towels. I was getting sweaty. Like when I would do the laundry, I was getting sweaty that I was going to fold the towels wrong. I have enough pressure going on in my life.
You just folded it in half?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the way.
I'd fold it over once, and then I'd fold it.
No.
I'm trying really hard to not lose all respect for you right now. So,
Are you kidding? I've done it all my life. I'm still here.
Yeah, it doesn't
I'm
make
a
it
clean
right,
man.
okay? That does not
This
make
has
it
nothing
right.
to do
Yes,
with
it does make it
cleanliness.
right.
What does this, first of all, what does this have to do with cleanness? It has nothing to do with cleanness. Nobody said, well, first you wiped your butt with it and then you did that travesty of a folding job. That is, Max and I are on Team Mary with this one. You're like an animal that barely knows how to be a human folding your towels that way. Oh
I take that back. I am one of the cleanest, most thoughtful persons that I know. That's
How
just
does
the
that
way I
have to
fold
do
it.
with the price of tea? You fold towels incorrectly. It has nothing to do with your kindness or your cleanliness. What?
You're not breaking
what
me. I'm
kind
going
of
back.
response
I was.
is that? You know what? Hey,
You're not
law
breaking
school
me.
didn't miss nothing when you decided to go into radio. What kind of logic is that? Mary says you're folding the towels wrong, and you go, "I'm clean." Okay, and you're a Virgo. Next, like, what?
That's the only defense I had. You go with whatever defense you have.
Oh my God, I'm glad your life wasn't on the line. I'm glad it was just the linen closet. You wouldn't have survived it.
She can make like a little hat out of a towel. Drives me crazy. It's Bob and Sheri.
Now, let's open up the Bob and Sheri Archive Vault.
And joining us right now, comic Sebastian Maniscalco. Good morning, Sebastian.
Good morning. What's going on?
How you doing?
Your name is so fantastic. You would have to be a star with a name like that.
Well, listen, it was either that or Adam. So I'm glad they went with Sebastian. Nothing against Adam, but I'm named after my grandfather. Actually, there's 4 of us in the family.
So it's an Italian family, a big Italian family?
It's my mom, my sister, and my father. Not huge. I mean, comparison to other Italian families, we're very small. But a lot of my material derives from growing up in the Italian family.
I love the name of your tour. Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's what I'm constantly asking myself as I walk around looking at people's behavior. Like, why would you do that? It's running rampant in the country. I mean, just
you're right.
I don't know what happened. I mean, I got kind of like a rule book to live by when I was growing up, and apparently nobody got the book.
Well, we see it every morning with all of the news things that come in. We had a story this morning of a guy who got, thrown in jail for some minor offense, and he put 54 pills of Xanax up his butt so he could be relaxed while in jail. Why would you do that?
Perfect. Why would you do? All my specials are a question. The special before that was, aren't you embarrassed? Before that was, what's wrong with people? So constantly asking myself these questions, and there's not a shortage of material.
Now, are you a single guy or married?
Married, having a baby, my first one May 1st. So
congratulations.
Thank you, little baby girl coming our way. So we are over the moon excited and having the baby not only because I want a kid, but need another special.
I want to know, because I watch it every once in a while, was it fun or nerve-wracking to be comedians going for coffee with Jerry Seinfeld?
Well, that was, for me, I had met Jerry prior to that, and then he had asked me to be on the show. So here's a guy that I grew up watching on TV and loved his stand-up. And next thing you know, we're cruising around a 69 Camaro around Los Angeles getting a cup of coffee. So for me, that was like my kind of Johnny Carson moment, I guess, getting called over to the couch.
Yeah.
We became fast friends after that, and a guy like Jerry Seinfeld's nice to have in your corner, just to kind of pick his brain on what to do and what not to do in the Hollywood business. So it's been great. And after the first 5 minutes of that show, I kind of settled in. The first 5 minutes was a little nerve-wracking.
So does he just pull up? I mean, there's nobody around. There's no entourage. It's just Jerry pulls up with the Camaro?
Well, you know what? There is a large contingency of people.
Okay.
We're driving, and if you look around us, there's a police escort, there's cameras, there's security, there's
right.
There's about 50 people with us, but it looks like we're just out for a cup of coffee.
It's fun to watch. That's great.
Sebastian, It's been my experience. I come from a big ethnic Italian family too, and it's been my experience that Italian guys are just naturally funny.
Yeah, I think it's just growing up in that environment, you know. I mean, my first stage was the kitchen table. You just kind of talk about my parents and my sister, and being in an Italian family, you just come from, you know, just a lot of discussion and a lot of flailing of hands and trying to get your point across. So
right.
Not only did we kind of grow up in a funny family, I grew up kind of watching Three's Company and John Ritter and all that physicality. So telling my stories, I tend to get a little aggressive on stage as far as with the physicality, just because growing up in that Italian family, you had to move your body to convey your message.
Yeah. One of the things that always struck me, and I didn't really realize it till I was an adult, was other families, not every dinner table conversation was like an opera, with like story arcs and drama and emotional threats and people slamming and stomping. And I go to other people's, like when I was in college, you'd go home with friends for a holiday or whatever, and they were so quiet and civilized. Pass the ambrosia salad, mother. And at our house, everything was this close to a brawl and people, you're dead to me, that kind of a thing.
Totally. My wife's family's like that. Like, I come from brutally honest people. I mean, if you got a problem in my family, somebody's going to tell you got a problem. Like,
yeah.
If your breath stinks, somebody's going to come right up to you. Like, did your tongue pass away? I mean, there's no like hiding the truth. And you go to my wife's family, and nobody says nothing. I mean, we walk away from the dinner. I go, nobody talks.
Did it take you a while to learn how to like dial it down and behave when you were first seeing your wife and meeting her family?
Well, no, I don't adjust my behavior whatsoever. I'm the only one talking at the table.
And they're just sitting there politely eating pork chops.
So
right?
once, as a kid, once you got away from performing at the dining room or the kitchen table, where did you perform professionally, and what was the worst venue you ever were booked into? Well,
I came out to LA when I was 24, and I started doing stand-up comedy anywhere I possibly could. The worst I think it was a place called Manteca, California, and I got to the gig, and I asked the guy, it was a bowling alley and a boxing ring in the same. I go, where's the stage? And they're like, no, you're going to be performing in the boxing ring? So I got up there, the ropes were still up, there was like fresh blood from the night before, and I got into a boxing ring and started performing with a bowling league behind me. So, I mean, listen, when you're young and you're hungry and you want stage time, you'll basically go wherever there's an audience. So, that was a long time ago. But you know, you need that as a performer to kind of build your foundation.
Right. Where can people see you? I mean, you're all over the country, but where can they go to check out where you're appearing next? You got a website?
Yeah, SebastianLive.com, and you could hit the tour dates there, and then you could follow me on social media from that website on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So
you can hear more from the Bob and Sheri archives at bobandsheri.com.
Leave us a talkback with the free Bob and Sheri app.
I am pretty sure that I've never eaten Wagyu beef. The very it's like the most expensive delicacy kind of Japanese sort of cow beef. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had it, Wagyu?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
I've seen it in the store, and it's
me too.
It is incredibly expensive.
It's crazy expensive, but it's supposed to be the greatest piece of steak you'll ever eat. Anyway, they have figured out how to 3D print it in the lab, and it looks and allegedly tastes exactly like Wagyu beef from the cow.
Really?
Yeah. So would you be?
What does that mean to print it in the lab?
They used a 3D. This is not the first lab grown meat that's been made. Usually it looks like ground beef, like it has a weird texture. But what they use is, it's kind of complicated. They create like a structure of sugars and bovine satellite cells and cow fat cells, and they put them into this. Yeah, they put them into this scientific process that I don't understand. And then they run it all through a bio 3D printer, and they fabricate individual fibers of muscle, fat, or blood vessels. And then they arrange them in 3 dimensions, and that reproduces the structure of beef. And then they slice it, and it looks like steak. And I was looking at pictures of it. I mean, it definitely looks like a piece of raw steak. It's a very, when you read the description of how they did it, with the bovine stem cells, and it gives you like a weird, like, wow, the future kind of feeling. Would you try it? 3D print it?
Yes, I would.
Wagyu beef.
It's really funny that you should bring this up, because just last night, Mary and I had our first, at least my first, could have been not her first, plant-based meal. And it was chicken. And the chicken looked like chicken nuggets, to be honest with you. She put it in the air fryer. And there were some vegetables with it. But, of course, I was really interested in what the chicken was going to taste like. And it was not bad. I mean, it kind of tasted like McDonald's chicken nuggets to a certain degree. Not quite as juicy, but it was pretty good. We're trying to see if we can move a little bit in that direction. So, yes, I would try it.
My daughter Olivia eats Beyond Burgers and Beyond Meat and all that kind of stuff. I would just as soon not eat something that's pretending to be something else. And I know it's all in my head, and I don't know why I have this aversion to it. I love tofu and tempeh and all of those other alternate proteins, but I don't necessarily want to eat something that is pretending to be something else. Like when you married
people that were, so I mean, I don't know why this is an issue for you.
That may be my aversion.
Too.
I know what it's like to have something fake in my mouth. But anyway, so I'll be throwing something on the grill, and Olivia will be like, "Will you throw a Beyond Burger on for me?" And I do, and it looks like raw beef, and it cooks like raw beef, except much faster, and it even it has the same juices. I don't know. There's something about it that really puts me off. I don't know why.
I'm surprised. You sound like this sounds like something that I would say.
Yeah.
This is not to say that I'm going to embrace this 100%. I'm just we're trying to be a little bit better, so that you're a little bit healthier. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't one of those things where, I'm smacking my lips because I'm 15 minutes away from dinner. That's not the case.
When my kids were younger and they would want to eat, they would like, "Can we have corn dogs?" Like, oh my gosh. Can you? I don't know that I can cook a corn dog. I would buy Morningstar Farms vegetarian corn dogs. My kids, until they were probably 10 years old each, had no idea how many meat substitutes they were being fed.
Kidding.
Yeah, sausage, chicken,
good for you. Yeah,
corn dogs. But I just couldn't. I have like this weird thing that, like a block, and I know it's all in my head. Max, can you eat things that are pretending to be meat?
I looked at it the other day and I went, I shouldn't have an issue with this, but at the same time, there's some part of me that goes, they can't quite tell me what's in it, and I'm just a little bit concerned about that.
But there's a picture of a farm with chickens right there on the package. You know it's good.
I know, but there's some part of me that I can't do it.
So you think that it's actually the opposite of what it portends to be, that it's not healthy? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. To me, it feels like it's unhealthy in a different way than the steak that I know came from a cow is. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm using that to tell Mary this is unhealthy in a way that we don't even know. There you go.
I mean, I don't know. I think if you can do it and you like it, it's better for everybody. It's better for the planet. It's better for you.
Yeah, it is that. Yeah,
but
that's very true.
I'm looking at the scientific breakdown of this 3D printed meat. I just would rather eat a salad, thanks. Even one made of kale. Yeah.
I think it's coming our way with what's going on with the climate sooner or later.
I do too.
Maybe not in our lifetime, but in the next one, I think it's coming our way.
It is Bob and Sheri.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Bob and Sheri podcast and the Bob and Sheri Oddcast.
We would love if you would subscribe, rate and review, and share it with a friend on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you go. And thank you again for listening.
Hey, I'm EJ Dixon.
And I'm Brittany Spanos.
We're both Rolling Stone writers. Brittany covers pop music, fandom, and race.
And EJ reports on everything internet culture related, from influencers to far-right extremist groups to OnlyFans.
And we both spend an insane amount of time on TikTok.
Literally so many hours.
Every single day.
My feed is all wacky family stories, aesthetically pleasing cooking videos, and hot guys.
And mine is primarily Y2K makeup tutorials, true crime conspiracy theories, and bisexual thirst traps.
So it feels right that we put all those hours of scrolling and laughing at our phones to more productive use.
That's why we're hosting Don't Let This Flop, a weekly podcast about what's happening on TikTok.
We'll keep you up to date on the big trends, the wackiest stories, and who is who in the TikTok extended universe.
There'll be interviews with content creators we follow, fellow journalists who have reported brilliantly on the app, and much more.
As fellow millennials, we understand how overwhelming it can be to try to keep up with who's dating who, what dance is trending, or who's getting canceled.
So we've created this podcast to try to keep you and us up to speed.
You don't want to miss it. Subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcast fix.
And please, don't let this flop.
We're joking, but also not really.